Fortitude means work hard, be brave, don't quit, and keep on going.
Can you give me an example for fortitude? When I had COVID, I didn't really feel really good, but I kept on going. And then I didn't have COVID anymore.
How have you shown fortitude?
I learned how to do cartwheel. It's really hard. I kept trying and figure it out. Can you tell us an example of fortitude?
When I was trying to ride a bike, I kept on falling down, but then I kept on going and I figured out how to ride a bike.
How have you shown fortitude?
I went skiing. It was hard. I liked it.
Can you give us an example of fortitude? Harriet Tubman, even though she was scared, she didn't let that scare get a hold of her. She went back 19 times to free hundreds of slaves, even risking her life for other people. What is an example of fortitude?
Sometimes it's hard to forgive people for what they do, but you have to just let it go and forgive them, even if they don't say sorry. Because then if you're just mad at your house, it's going to turn you mean, and that's not going to help you. Martin Luther King Jr. said, forgiveness isn't just an act, it's a constant attitude.
What's an example of fortitude? The example for it is you gotta tell the truth isn't scary. Because if you don't tell the truth, you can get in more trouble. If you get in trouble, then you lie. Then you get in trouble. How can you show fortitude?
Like if you're at school and you have a test, and you think it's real hard, don't ever give up, because if you give up, you're never going through in life. You need to keep on going even when it's hard so you can learn something new.
Can you show me an example of fortitude?
The mail carriers on the Pony Express, they showed fortitude by keeping on going in harsh weathers like thunderstorms or sandstorm or blizzards. No matter what, they kept on going.
How can you show fortitude? You can show fortitude by, if you're scared of the dark, but the light stops you from sleeping, turn the lights off even if you're scared, so you can sleep because you need it. Sometimes it's hard to give your body what it needs, but you have to. Can you give us an example of fortitude?
Example is like Martin Luther King. He led the Black African American to march, and they didn't give up. They kept on going, and that shows fortitude. And even in the boycott, when it was cold and hot, they never gave up.
How have you shown fortitude?
I've been had to show fortitude by doing flips. Even I kept on going and kept on going and kept on going and kept on going. And they figured it out. How can you show fortitude?
Take me for example. I'm sick and I'm still doing my work, and I am sticking with it and not whining or fussing. I'm just sticking with it like a cool kid.
How can you show fortitude?
You can show fortitude by when you're getting braces. It hurts, and you have to go through the pain. And
while you're getting through the pain. Your family members can be there for you, and they can cheer for you, and you'll be happy, and you can get through the pain.
Tell me an example of fortitude.
One example of fortitude is when Martin Luther King wanted to fight for justice. He organized a boycott and he didn't give up even though he was thrown in jail a couple times. But he didn't give up. He kept going. Even after he passed away, they didn't give up. They kept fighting for what was right even though it was hard.
How have you shown fortitude?
My words, the leader kept on going.
Nice.
Give all of us an example of fortitude. Harriet Tubman didn't stop. Even the slave catchers right behind her. She kept on going, and she grew so many black sisters and brothers.
How have you shown fortitude? I working hard for everything. Can you give us an example for fortitude?
When Miss Thomas left, we were missing her very much and we felt like crying. But we let her go and let her go to her new job anyways. We kept on going and did our work even when it's hard.
Why is fortitude so important? Because if you skip the bad parts in life, you might not have a chance to learn from it. Then when that happens to you, you might not know what to do. You might just be like, should I do this or should I just keep on doing the same thing I always do? So you gotta learn from your mistakes in order to be successful in life.
How can you show fortitude?
I can do hard things. I learned so many things this year. I don't give up. I just keep on going. Can you give us an example of fortitude? My sister was teasing my dog, but then my dog had got angry and bit her. I showed fortitude by calming her down. I held her hand and calmed her down, and I told her to take deep breaths, and then she had calmed down even though she was scared. Even though I was scared too, I sticked with it as well. What is an example for fortitude? Well, my mom or my dad or my grandma told me to go in the kitchen, and the kitchen was dark, and I had to get and I needed to get a water bottle, but it was dark. And Grandma said I need to go by myself, but I was too scared. But then I realized I can't be scared. I need to go in there and get a water bottle for myself. And I did it. How can you show fortitude? How I can show fortitude is when I tried to make friends at this new school. It was hard, but I kept on going and I ended up making a lot of friends. What's an example of fortitude?
One example of fortitude is when Ruby Bridges went to an all-white school. She didn't just give up and say, I'm not going to go to that school anymore because they were mean to me. She prayed for them. Even though they didn't hear her do it. She still prayed for them even though they were mean. She kept on going every day and didn't end up being mean like them.
How did you show fortitude? When I was on a Ferris wheel, I stayed on it, and when it got really high up, it kept going up and down, kind of, but it kept going backwards and forwards. And I stayed on it. It ended up being kind of fun.
How did you show fortitude?
Well, I showed fortitude when I was in kindergarten. And when I was in kindergarten, there was a bully. And she was nice to me, but she wasn't nice to Abigail. And I didn't like that. So I showed fortitude by sticking with my normal life and trying to stand up for her, Abigail. How have you shown fortitude?
When Mom picked me up from school, she showed me a picture of footprints on the kitchen table. but with blood on it. It was from my cat named Miracle. She didn't die, but I was still terrified. I was afraid she would die, but she didn't. She's still a nice, happy cat. Sometimes.
What is an example of fortitude?
One example of fortitude is when Mae Jemison wanted to be an astronaut. She tried to apply for NASA and they said no. And then just because they said no, she didn't give up. She asked the second time and applied for it and they said yes. And then she got to be an astronaut.
What's an example of fortitude?
I was showing fortitude when a cat that I knew and I liked ran away, and now I'm not sure he's safe, but I'm gonna keep on going even though it's hard.
How can you show fortitude?
I show fortitude by not stopping doing my work.
Can you tell me an example of fortitude?
One time my dad got hurt in a car accident and he hurt his elbow. Then he had to go to the hospital. When he went to the hospital, I sat with him the whole time to comfort him. It's kind of hard to sit with somebody in the hospital, but it was worth it because my dad was hurt and also I love him.
Please like and subscribe.
And share with your friends.
It means a lot to us.
Share in the comments how you can show fortitude in your own way.